But I'm not kidding when I say I know nothing about our guest, Andrew, at all.
Yeah.
So just tell me one thing about who we were talking to today.
I don't even know that I can narrow it down to one thing. I think that's the fun part about it is that, I guess the easiest thing to say is that we met about 10 years ago. Was it 10? It was 10 years ago, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hit them up on Instagram because I was looking to find ways to like educate the staff at the restaurant. And Jared, I started following their company, Boot Hill Blades, on Instagram. And I was like, yo, man, will you guys come down and do a knife class at the restaurant and like walk people through kind of what it looks like? How do you build a knife? How do you maintain a knife? And if you have any knives for sale, please bring them down. I'll encourage my team to buy something. And then they came down, and it was just from then on out, we've been in constant contact. And now they're two of my favorite people on the planet. So I feel good about being an internet stalker for once.
But that's exciting. That really is one thing. So now I because I know nothing else about you, I just associate you as absolute knife pros and just want to know if I bought the right knives. Although I know I have the right knives because Andrew said that they were acceptable. I can't remember if you were like, those are the ones to get, but you were like, those are fine. Those are good knives for the for the casual person, which is hex. Did I do hexclad? Because I did some hexclad cookware, and then I think they had like a knife deal, and you're like, that's okay, you can do that. So now I guess that's the real question to both of you, and you can be honest. If you hurt my feelings, that's okay. Is it okay that I have hexclad knives? Or do you accept those? Are those appropriate?
100%. That's fine.
I haven't even seen their knives, but I like their other stuff. So
well, it's a visual medium, so you guys keep talking. So for the podcast listeners, it doesn't seem like there's a weird break here, and I'll just go grab a couple knives and show them what you can see what they look like.
Yeah,
okay,
perfect.
Yeah, I want to see them.
Andrew, I can't believe you would tell him that those knives were fine. Why would you do that? Why would you do that?
I don't know.
See, that's what I love about you. You're either going to tell the truth or you're going to lie. It's one of the two, but there's no in between.
No, but like it's funny because Charlie will always reach out to me and be like, hey, we're thinking about doing this, or we're going to cook this, or we're going to cook that. It's not a hexclad knife, is it?
Yeah, it is. Also, I have wireless headphones, so I was laughing my ass off at the first thing you said when I got away from the computer.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
it is perfect. That'll work, dude.
I thought that was a shun.
That's because it looks exactly like one. I bet you it is one. It's probably the same factory or whatever,
Yeah.
Yeah,
but it's Damascus. It looks like, that's
all right. I am going to put this back though, because the idea of just having a knife at my desk during the recording just seems strange and ominous and unsettling to me. But now you can say you've seen one. And I learned, I took a knife class one time in New York. Oh, this is a side story. I don't know if this will be in it, but my niece and I were living together in Brooklyn. It was like a TV show, like a sitcom idea. Like she was like a 18-year-old, just got into a new school. I was leaving New York, but decided to stay like a few extra months so that she could have we have a close relationship. And I was like, you know what? I've been in New York for 12 years. I'll stay here for a few more months and help you get used to New York City and Brooklyn. And then we were like, oh, what's like fun stuff we can do together before I leave? And one of them was like a cooking class in this huge kitchen in Brooklyn. And it was going to be 6 weeks. And it was just going to teach us all these awesome basics from chefs or whatever. And I was like, this is great because I know nothing. So one of them was cooking, was knives class. And I don't really remember that much about it, but I remember that where to actually have my fingers and how to do like the claw thing so I don't cut off my fingers. And like I learned some things. I'm really proud of it. Long story short, halfway through that course, the kitchen got shut down and we never got to finish our cooking class. And it was really sad. It was something to do with, I think the drama was the people running the school, which a really cool school idea, right? To teach people these skills. They like reported a health code or reported management for something. And then management's like, all right, cool. Well, we're kicking you out. And that was the end of that. Anyway, I'm going to put this knife back real quick.
But no, like when they came down to the class, I mean, I think shortly after that, we stayed in contact and we continued to do, I mean, we've done everything together from me coming up there and cooking for the knife classes that they actually put on to charity events to just generally hanging out, having fun, bullshitting, wading through creeks and fishing and, doing work together where they collaborated on some cutting boards for us with Blackhawk. And
child live with you for a while.
That's right. Yes. Our summer daughter.
Well, okay,
Yeah.
wait. More importantly, though, our middle child was about 1 year old when we met Andrew, and we used to take her down to the restaurant and go see Andrew, and he used to take us back to like this test kitchen that he had, and in the test kitchen he had all kinds of weird stuff. He'd be like, "Look at this," and open up this jar, and it was like, I don't know,
Powders.
Yeah, it was like pulverized shrimp, dehydrated, rehydrated, added ink squid. I don't know, all this crazy stuff in there. And we would take our 1 year old daughter with us, and she thought Andrew Whitney was the coolest guy ever, which she's, subsequently found out now that she's 11 that he's not. But she thought that for a while, and she was like, "I want to be a chef." And so he would carry her around and have her taste things, and she loved the kitchen down there.
Well,
Chef Andrew was her jam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so I'm just curious, can you remember any first impressions of meeting Andrew?
Yeah, he's huge.
That first time?
He was huge. I was like, this dude, the kitchen, it doesn't matter how big the kitchen is, Andrew doesn't fit in it, right? And like, there was a pass like at the restaurant where he would work on like one side, but all he had to do was turn around and reach. Other people had to like turn around, step, and reach. Andrew could just move shit from one to the other, just bam, 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 because he was like jammed in there with butter,
It's amazing.
Dude,
Are you wearing a Molly's Cupcake shirt?
No. Molly's Rise and Shine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
There's a famous Molly's
It's a
Cupcake.
sausage, egg, and cheese biscuit taking a walk.
Oh
good
my
shit.
God.
Yeah.
That's why we record on video right there.
Yeah.
And not to get too personal, but super interested to know what graphic tees you guys are representing there.
Oh,
I actually have my Boot Hill Blades shirt on.
Hey.
It's random.
That's like the family business then?
Yep.
The Boot Hill
Yeah.
Blades?
right here.
Yeah.
One of
Cool. Wait.
17.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
One of three. Or
Anyway, what's your shirt? What was your
Mossy Oak.
shirt? What is that?
It's a Mossy Oak. It's a camo brand.
Ah, okay.
A camouflage brand that we're friends with.
I've got a little Kirby pin on my thing because I like Kirby. And then check this out. I made this shirt, which you guys won't have any reference for. But this is, if you've ever played the game Stardew Valley, this is pixel art from the game Stardew Valley based off an actual picture of my girlfriend and I because she like was obsessed with Stardew Valley, and then we started playing together. And so then I surprised her with this like pixel art of us in her favorite game running our own like digital farm.
So you're still playing a video game that has that graphics.
Well, this is the funny thing, Jared, is that actually it's that there's so much nostalgia for that time that new video games and new designers are making games with that old artwork as its own like aesthetic, like purposefully, bringing back that look.
I'm out of the video game world. However, we do have a Nintendo Switch. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
And so we do play Super Smash Brothers a lot with the kids. And our daughter Remy is always Kirby, and Kirby is almost unbeatable on Super Smash Brothers because he can frickin' fly. It's horrible. It's the worst. I'm like, all right, Remy, you can be anybody except Kirby. Stop being Kirby, because that's how she wins.
Yeah, this is the worst thing I could share about myself publicly, and it's super nerdy. So I play Kirby, and I will just like swallow people up because that's his big superpower. He swallows you up and steals your abilities. Except I'll just swallow somebody up, jump off the level, and
Spit
like take out both. Yeah, spit them out and then try to make it back. And my girlfriend, she's like, she thinks is my biggest red flag in our like entire relationship. Is that that's the only way I want to play. Anyway,
that's really good. I like that.
Yeah, it's funny, man, because the whole idea of like what we do on here there's no prep, right? So like when Charlie invites a guest on, I have no idea who they are, what they're going to do. Same thing with this. I was like, hey, you want me to give you a little rundown about Jared and Kylee? And it's like, no, we're not doing that anymore, because we found that as we continue talking to people, like the conversation always goes to just like the craziest places. And we just talked to Eric Martino, was the last one that we did. So I told Charlie, I was like, there's a fun connection between the two, and I would love for you guys to tell the story.
How do you guys know? How do you guys know Eric?
Are we allowed to cuss on
You
this?
can do whatever you want.
Yeah,
you can do whatever you want.
Shit was hitting on my wife for years.
I'm just gonna make sure we clip this so I can share it with him.
Yeah. But
It's not.
No, but we were at that event, the Live Fire event, and Martino was there. And then, so what happened at that event?
I don't remember. You have to tell that story because even though I'm the one who said whatever it was, I was just joking and I forgot about what had happened. But I know it is ingrained in your memory because you still laugh about it a couple times a year. I know you do.
Yeah. So we were at this big event that M Street, all of our restaurants were at. It was behind Marathon Music Works, which is this big open music venue right at the old Marathon building. It's like this historic building right outside of Germantown in Nashville. And we were back there, and there's been a little back and forth between everybody. There's some drinks had. And it was just overall, it was a fun day. But I think it was either right before we posed for the picture or right after we posed for the picture. Martino had his arm around, I think Kylee, and Jared was on the other side of Kylee, and we were all talking. And I don't remember exactly what you said to him, Jared, but you said something along the lines of like, I'm getting real tired of you hitting on my fucking wife or something like that. And Jared was joking. He was just messing with him. But Martino, like, ghost white in the face, big eyed, and was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. That was not my intention at all. Like, immediately turned on like the general manager. I'm in the restaurant hospitality. How do I recover this? And it took probably 3 weeks of me going, dude, Jared was totally fucking with you. He does not think you were actually hitting on his wife.
I still don't know if he actually believes that was just a joke. Like, it was a joke.
Definitely not.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
I love him. I haven't talked to him in a long time.
Yep.
He was a great
I'm proud of you, Andrew, for not stringing that along. I think I would have been really tempted to be like, yeah, they're in counseling now. We're all pulling for them.
The long play.
Yeah. No, but it was awesome. But I mean, that's the like one of my favorite things about Jared and Kylee is that they're down for whatever. They always are down to have fun. I think Jared's probably the person in my life that fucks with me more than anybody. Period. Like, to the point where I've like contacted Kylee and been like, yo, did I piss Jared off? Like, did I do something wrong to Jared? And she's like, no, he just fucks with you because he knows he's going to get under your skin. And it's great because we now do so much shit. Like, back when, I think 2 years ago, we were really doing a lot of stuff with the knife classes, with the bigger events that we were doing. It was nonstop 24/7, just berating from Jared on him fucking with me, and it was incredible.
Somebody's got to do it.
Yeah,
somebody's got. All his friends tell me he does it to them, so somebody's got to bully the bully. You know, I really got him the other day. He every time like we cook, if I post like a picture of food, or if one of our friends posts a picture of food on Instagram or whatever, he'll message on Instagram and talk shit about that dish all the time. So the other day he did it at one of our knife classes. One of his friends made the dishes at the knife class, and I was posting pictures, and he was talking shit about it. And I said, I swear to God, I'm so close to blocking you on this platform. Like, you're not going to be able to see any of this. And he was like, okay. But then like 2 days later, he called me. He was like, wait, were you messing around or were you for real?
Oh my God.
The backstory to that is that they host knife classes at their farm every other weekend during the spring and during the fall.
I'm just taking notes. You guys have a farm. All right. And you host knife classes. Look at the things I'm learning already.
Again, they do one of 10,000 things that Jared and Kylee do. This is just one. But they do. It's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday knife class. You show up on Friday, you go hang out, you shoot clays, and then you forge your own knife, and then you handle it, you sharpen it. You do the whole 9 yards.
Forge your own knife?
100%. Yeah. It's insane.
What?
But the cool thing about it is that because they're so ingrained in the Nashville culinary community that they invite chefs up to cook for the class on Saturday nights. So I think like the first couple of years, I was coming up and cooking a lot. There was a couple other chefs that would come in between if I couldn't be there. And then over the last, I think 18 months, 2 years, Adam, who works for me at Blackhawk, who's been a friend of mine for 15, 16 years, started cooking for the majority of those classes because I didn't have the ability to do it time-wise. And I'll fill in if he can't, but Adam and I have this like back and forth that's very like brotherly, and we hate each other but love each other at the same time. So any opportunity I get to talk shit on Adam when he's doing something that he's passionate about, I get great joy in. So that's where the backstory comes from of me. I don't just randomly talk shit on people's food that they're posting. There is a through line. There is a through line. But
he does.
The experience, by the way, that is like, I'm so in on that as an experience. I want to spend a weekend doing all of those things. Can you summarize that again? I show up, and what all do I get to accomplish? Like starting from beginning to end? Beyond forging my own knife?
We have people come on Friday afternoon, and if the weather's good, we shoot clays here, just like in the field behind us. And then we usually do smash burgers and sausage and my kid's favorite macaroni cheese. I make all the other food. Jared's in charge of the smash burgers unless Andrew's here, and then we always put him in charge. But then every meal except for Saturday night, I do all the cooking, and everyone stays in a little guest house that's on the farm. So, and the house is open. So at all times that we're just like, just come in. We have meals in here together at this big table, and we hang out and we drink and we do whatever. We ask people what they like before they come. So if you don't drink, great. What do you drink? Anything you like to drink or eat, we have it here. So you're super comfortable. And Jared steps through the whole process of making the knife, and he makes them do everything themselves. And then they leave with their knife, and just a fun weekend of how we live every weekend.
All right. This is, first off, I may or may not have loaded your website in real time on the podcast just because I was curious, and perfect timing. This is my girlfriend. This is Kat.
Guest alert.
We are just getting real loose with the beginning of this podcast.
Hi.
Can I show you this thing on there? Look at these spoons. Is that not you?
That's so mean.
Look at this walnut coffee scoop, walnut serving spoon. Look at these.
Because one time we went to a flea market and my eyes just kind of like watered, and I like salivated over all the artisan wood spoons.
And they have
beautiful.
so much. Look, they're sold out of their spatulas.
Well,
Not trying to hype you
Kylee
up too
makes
much.
everything.
Still looking. I like these ones. Now I'm just shopping.
Jared makes the knives. I don't do anything on the knives. I make all the wood stuff.
That's Jared. That's Kylee. He makes the knives. She makes all the wood stuff.
Awesome.
Anyway, I wanted her to see because she loves that. And also, I just can't believe it's not like you just did one version. You have a ton of wood stuff on here, and they're all really beautiful. I'm going up. What do you want
Dude,
to look at?
peanut butter and jelly spreaders.
Got me now.
That's the one.
Yeah, this is what Andrew's
That's
talking
the
about right
one.
now. PB&J spreaders.
You know, for the big jars, you don't want to get your knuckles all gross.
Oh, wait, but when we want it sold out.
Wait, they're talking to me. I need to get you headphones.
I use that for the. Hey, I use that for the big jar of Duke's mayonnaise, the big spreader.
Yeah.
Yes.
I love these ones.
All right, thanks for letting us literally just go any direction whatsoever. We'll maybe start moving it. This is my favorite part of this is I wanted her to come in, but she can't hear anything you're saying. And so her pure excitement of just wanting to yell at the screen of stuff she's saying is she's just saying stuff over whatever you guys are talking about, which is amazing. But I like your enthusiasm.
I also can't see them, though. That's the other thing.
Right, okay. What's the one last thing you want to say? I'll give you another 10 seconds looking at their website.
I bought these really subpar wooden tasting spoons on Amazon. And they are getting really like worn, and they're not delightful to eat from. So my dream of like having these like beautiful wood tasting spoons is not realized, but maybe it can.
Boot Hill Kitchen Instagram.
That's right.
Tell her to send me pictures.
Anyways, thank you.
And we can.
She's gonna tell you one thing about your dream spoons. Yes.
Hello.
Yes. If you just have him or send me on email pictures of what you have, and I can recreate them for you.
Amazing. Thank you. So great meeting you guys. I really am obsessed with.
Feel free to walk by with some of our wood utensils
in
the background. Just
you should follow them, Boot Hill Kitchen on Instagram, and you can see everything that they make. The cutting boards, the wooden spoons, everything, knife blocks. It's all incredible.
Well, I was actually doing research on wood cutting boards because we have this like little area above our sink where we can hang things. And I'm like, I want something there that's beautiful, functional, the right size. And then I'd look at stuff just like on Amazon. It would just like had weird discoloration like that. I wasn't really interested in. So there is this world of like artisan wood kitchen pieces. I'm very interested.
Well, she's the queen of that world.
Ooh, that's amazing.
She is the queen.
Well, I can't wait to hear the podcast so then I can hear the story. I've commandeered the whole podcast.
Yeah. Host for the next 5 minutes. I'll come back.
I like being like this special guest segment. Anyway, goodbye.
So,
anyway,
yeah. All that to be said, though, everything that they make is fucking incredible. But it's not just knives and kitchen stuff. Like, she grows insane grapes. They produce probably what top 4 hunting dogs in the United States right now.
What?
Yeah, dude, they do. You dream it that it can be done on a farm. They're doing some version of it. Just seriously, make something up. I guarantee you they've done it.
We have a lot too.
Forgot about the dogs.
Yeah. So they have their own kennel, They have their own wood shop. They have their own knife making. They make insane pink grape juice that'll melt your brain. Yeah,
Man,
it's too
I don't
much
even,
shit.
Andrew, you know that I freaking love asking questions, and this is my curiosity meter is like almost going off the charts because I don't know where to start, and I assume starting anywhere is a good place. But can we get a little bit of the origin story of the two of you meeting each other? The two things I would want to know is obviously the meeting each other, right?
Sure.
But the second part is also the let's try working together, because I also find that is rare and always cool and exciting and interesting when you see that happening. So yeah.
Cool.
Okay, so we met on a blind date in Arizona.
No.
I was a financial advisor at the time at Edward Jones, and I shared an assistant with another advisor, and I had been on a date, I don't remember, with somebody at some point. It didn't go well, and I told her, she was Mormon, and I told her, I said, look, I'm just going to go to the singles ward. Like, I know you guys have singles wards. I know there's a bunch of girls there. I'm going as a joke. She was like, actually, I do know somebody that I'd probably hook you up with. And I was like, no, I'm not doing that. So I went back in my office. Like half an hour later, I came back out. I was like, what's she look like? And then she was like, so my assistant is about 6'1" or 6'2". And she was like, oh, she's tall, brown hair, light eyes. I was like, oh, right up my alley. Okay, great. Tall, brown hair, light. Okay. So I was like, no, we're not doing that. I'm not going on a blind date. I went back in my office. Half an hour later, I came back. I was like, what's her name? And she was like, I'm just going to send you her Facebook. And so I was like, okay. So she hooked us up on a blind date. We went on the blind date. She was not tall. My assistant was tall. My wife here is not, I mean, she's not short.
I'm 5'6".
Yeah, she's not short.
I'm not like on the really short end, but I'm definitely not like 5'9", 5'10" either.
Yeah. So we didn't actually like, we hit it off kind of as friends the first date on that blind date, but we both like, she always says that Mustang cars are for strippers, and I had a Mustang at the time. And so
not like a cool vintage old one, by the way.
No.
Let's just put that asterisk in there.
It wasn't like a Shelby GT. Okay,
No,
I got you.
No, it was like a 2001 or something. I forget, 2005.
So gross.
And she drove a truck and got out with like a flannel on, and I drove a Mustang and was probably wearing Abercrombie and Fitch at the time or something, you know. And we were like, this is not what we were looking for, either of us. But we ended up talking a little bit after that, and then at some point, I just DTR'd her, you know, determine the relationship, just DTR'd her. I was like, look, I'm not looking to date. I had just gotten out of the military. I'm looking to get married, start a family. I was 24. I always wanted to have a family. And so I said, that's what I'm looking for. And she was like, yeah, I'm not looking for that. And like a week later, she called me back. She was like, do you want to go out to have a drink after I play tennis? And I was like, you're going to be all sweaty and gross from tennis. And she was like, yeah, I mean, it's fine. I was like, wow, somebody who's going to be gross and sweaty and want to go get a drink? Okay, this could work. We went and got a drink, and we did not spend a day together for the next like 7 years.
We were married 6 months later.
Yeah, married 6 months later.
Literally 6 months, almost to the day we were married.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm so glad I asked this question. Follow up before we get to the working together part. What the hell is a single ward?
That's some place at a Mormon community where they have like all the singles go.
Anyone that's 35 and younger and they're single, they go to a like special service, and it's to find someone. Like that's what they do.
Yeah.
I didn't go to a singles ward.
Yeah, neither of us are Mormon. My assistant was, and I was joking with her.
And I had dated a guy that was Mormon, and he went to church with his assistant. That's how we ended up knowing each other.
Oh.
So there was a very odd, like random connection that got us to meet.
Wow. What a story. Oh my God. That is so, I mean, there's probably stories within stories there, but what a perfect ending too. We spent every day for 7 years together. Okay.
Yeah.
At what point though?
14 now.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
yeah, no, go ahead.
So we got married 6 months later, secretly. We just went to the JOP
in the ghetto
and got married, and then we planned a wedding like a few months after that, like 4 months after that. But most of the people at the wedding didn't know that we were already previously married. But it was great because the wedding was just a party. Like there was no pressure. I remember my little brother saying to me, he was my best man, and he was like, "What if she doesn't show up?" And I was like, "Well, then I'm gonna beat her when we get back home because we
We live together.
Yeah, we were already married. We were already together. So we finally got we tried to get pregnant for a long time with one of a kid, I guess. And finally we got pregnant with Berkeley, who's our 11-year-old now. And I told her, I do not want to raise a kid in Phoenix. Like,
We already had a daughter, by the way.
Yeah, we already have one that's older. My stepdaughter, her daughter, that was 8 when we met, I think. And we wanted to have some of our own. And so I convinced Kylee of that. And we got pregnant with Berkeley finally. And I said, I don't want to raise a kid out here. Like, it was right after sort of the 2008 crash. The neighborhoods were just infested with like just where we were at with renters and people just, it was just not a safe place. There was a park down the street and we couldn't let our 8-year-old walk to the park by herself. Oof. It was just not, viable. And I was like, look, I want to slow down. I want to raise them out in the country somewhere and do something. So I Googled best places to raise a family. And that year, Knoxville, Tennessee was like number 2 on that list or something like that. So I Googled financial advisor jobs in Knoxville, Tennessee, and one came up in Clarksville, Tennessee, which is right by where we live now. And I asked her, I said, what do you think about Clarksville, Tennessee? And she said, I've never been there. I said, me neither. And I was like, well, maybe we should move. Maybe we can go there and start something new for us. And she was like, okay. So I called my realtor that night and I had him come over the next day. And he came over to list our house for sale. And he said, you know what? I'm looking to buy a rental house. Yours would be perfect. Just give me a price when you guys get a chance, and we'll write up the paperwork next week. So that was like on a Friday. I gave him the price on Saturday, and we signed paperwork Monday. And I was in a 27-foot moving truck that Friday, moving to Tennessee. I didn't have the job. We just picked it off of a map, and left. And so I left first, and Kylee came like a month later, or a couple weeks later, I guess. Yeah. And we moved to Clarksville, Tennessee. I ended up getting the job as the financial advisor there. And that was just, I was a financial advisor for almost 10 years. It was so stressful on me, like trying to do the right thing for your client, but at the same time, making the numbers that you have to make for your boss. Those two things, those two paths sometimes don't cross. And so I was working and really stressed out and just wanted to build a knife. I wanted to go hunting and deer hunting and build a knife. So I started Googling how to do it and researching how to do it. And eventually I started to try to make my own knives. And when I finally kind of accomplished that, or was really working at that, we launched Boot Hill Blades. And Kylee, I had done some woodworking in there too. And she was like, well, I can do the woodworking stuff if you can do the, other stuff. And I said, okay, let's do it. And we launched a Kickstarter campaign, and Kickstarter put us on the front page as their Kickstarter staff pick. We funded in 11 hours, and I filmed the entire Kickstarter video with my iPhone, and we funded in 11 hours. And
that was that.
And that was that. Boot Hill Blades was born, and we went forward, and I left my corporate job, at the bank, and being a financial advisor.
Okay, so you mentioned that you kept it a secret from everybody that you guys had just like gone to a courthouse and gotten married, and that piqued my interest because I just want to do the same thing. I'm going through engagement ring shopping, pretty sure I found the ring, going to be figuring all this out, planning the proposal, then like probably not getting married for like over a year, all this kind of stuff. I'm just going through all of it. And I'm just like, I just want to go somewhere and just get married. And then like, okay, maybe we'll just keep it a secret. But like, did you actually keep it a secret? Was it truly just the two of you? Or did you let some people in on it? And then if you did, how did you have assurances that it wouldn't then breach and my neuroticism coming out of it? Like, so tell me, is it truly a secret?
Yeah, it was a secret for a long time. I think the only people that knew were my parents at some point, but we kept it from them for weeks. Like, they didn't know for weeks. So my parents...
When did we tell Isabel?
I don't know if we ever told Isabel, our oldest daughter. Like, I don't remember.
She knows now.
Well, yeah.
Well, no, but
that you're married.
She knew because the whole reason was we were going to move in together.
Okay.
I feel like we told her at the time. She's our oldest. I think we told her.
And then I think your mom knew.
Maybe.
I think her mom knew, but that was it. Like nobody else in my family, none of my brothers and sisters. I'm the oldest of 5. None of her brothers and sisters.
No.
Maybe your sister knew. Maybe I don't know.
I don't even remember.
No, we kept it from everybody. The only people that knew were like a couple of parents.
So it's possible. All right, possible to keep it a secret. Interesting.
Oh, it's great.
It's kind of fun.
At the wedding, everybody thinks it's your wedding. Everybody thinks it's real. Everybody was partying like it was the real thing, and yeah, it worked out. I thought it worked out brilliantly. There was no pressure on us. We got to let loose and have a fun time. It was more of a party, than any I don't know, expectations that were put on us.
Saying everything I want to hear right now. I love this. Andrew had mentioned that you might have had. So I live in East Hollywood, like the line between East Hollywood and Los Feliz.
Oh no!
And he was like, "Oh, I think he has a Hollywood story. Make sure you ask him about it." I was like, "All right, well, he's back, so I can ask him about it." What's good experiences with Hollywood?
I wish my phone my computer never would have died now. Andrew,
hold on. Have you ever told this story outside of like bullshitting around the knife classes?
Kylie's told people before.
When I posted his picture that one time, remember, I really stirred the pot.
She posted my headshot one time.
Yeah. LA, like acting headshot?
I've only been to LA one time. Like I've only been there. I mean, like I've been on vacation and stuff, but I've only been there acting one time. But yes, I wanted to be an actor for a long time. What I wanted to do. And so my almost big break, I got chosen as one of 3 people to shoot a pilot for a show that was going to be called Wizards of Haversham Hall for Disney. And so we went and shot pilot or whatever. The project got scrapped. And I wasn't chosen anyway out of the 3 guys or whatever that shot the pilot, but the project got scrapped. And then a year later, they resurrected it as Wizards of Waverly Place. And obviously, I mean, Kylie probably wouldn't be here if I would have got picked because I would have probably been married to what's her name from Waverly Place?
Selena Gomez?
Yeah, Selena Gomez probably. So, everything works out for a reason, Charlie?
Yeah, I love that. I mean, if you believe in parallel universes, there's absolutely a version where, you guys killed it with Wizards of Haversham.
But I mean, you shot scenes with Selena Gomez, right?
No. She wasn't involved at the time yet.
Got it.
Yeah, she wasn't involved.
But you also spent time in New York City.
Yeah.
Modeling.
Not LA, just I got to spend a summer there, shooting some stuff for H&M, and back when I was young and good looking,
and had hair,
hair, and no white and gray in my beard.
What a life that's been lived. Damn. Okay. So I really wanted to know about whether or not I could secretly elope and keep it a secret, but I'm glad I asked about the Hollywood element too. That's really interesting. Well, okay, I'll share a little Hollywood back with you guys because it feels relevant. I don't think I've talked about this with Andrew before, at least not on this medium. But when I met Kat, who's obviously I'm in love with and want to secretly elope with, when I first met her, I was in the final stages. I had an offer to be cast for a TBD Netflix project that was like 2 years out because they had to do long form documentary footage of it. And the idea was based on people that know they want to have a family, but they feel like they want to start now, like time is kind of against them and they haven't found romantically like the person they want to be with yet. What if we bring on like this prestigious, world-class, famous couples counselor, matchmaker person? And she's saying like, hey, we can find people that have the same parenting values and the same like ideals, and we'll do like a long-form documentary. And part of what they wanted to do that I thought was really interesting is they're like, can you explore what some other countries are doing? I know Canada does this. I know some other countries in Europe do this, where they're like, hey, could 2 best friends raise a kid and not like mess the kid up? Like, can there still be like some way of saying like, hey, my time's running out, I can't meet the right person, but the 2 of us could do this because we have the same values and we're going to give attention and love. And so I think part of the documentary is kind of focused on that too, which I also thought was interesting. So the reason I even ended up in this, I wasn't like applying to anything. During COVID, Love is Blind like took over everything by like, and one of my friends as like a joke, like submitted me for Love is Blind because I was like living in Atlanta and that's where the first season was. And they actually got back to me and like, the next season was gonna be like in Chicago or something. Didn't make sense. But the casting director was like, hey, I think you might be good for a newer, different type of show. So they had my information because it had been submitted for Love is Blind, which I would never do. That idea terrifies me. Not to go into a whole conversation about Love is Blind, it just terrifies me. The idea of like, go ahead.
We have
okay, so
Love is Blind, so we are well aware of.
Very entertaining.
Kylee loves.
I'm not, I just don't want to be the person in it.
You seem a little too level-headed to be on Love is Blind, at least at the moment. I mean,
well, it's funny how they talk about they're like, listen, what they don't say is that we have your prenup written ahead of time and no assets are exchanged and there's no consequence or fallout. Everything is immediately taken care of if it doesn't work out. So, it's interesting to be the behind the scenes of everything of them trying to like assuage your fears.
Yep.
But I was like, no, I'm not interested. And then I don't think I was really seriously interested other than the part of me that just loves saying yes to things, and especially loves saying yes to weird things. And I was like, well, I get to work with like a world acclaimed matchmaker. So that's kind of interesting. And if I'm not hitting it off with the person, they've assured me you just aren't on the show anymore.
Yeah.
Or maybe you never even make it to the show. You're just like, all right, well, I don't, so I'm gone. So I was kind of like saying, I'll just keep doing these interviews, sometimes hour and a half, 2 hours of like this on video with them asking you all types of personal questions about your past relationships, about your family, about trauma. It's like in depth, right? And then they want to see, do you have personality? Do you pop on screen? Like, what would our story be if we put you on? And then, they had me as like a finalist, and I met Kat and I like called the guy back and I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm not I didn't think it was going to go this far in the first place. I didn't think you guys would keep calling me back to keep going further in auditions. But even then, like, I think I've met somebody really special, and they're like, oh, that's totally fine. She can be on it too. I was like, what? He's like, yeah, why don't you just bring her on and the matchmaker, instead of finding you somebody, we'll just immediately start trying to like figure out like how to help you plan for having kids. I'm like, I have just met this person. We're just starting dating. I don't know how to like go to them and be like, hey, so would you want to take our relationship 2 or 3 weeks in, and why don't we like make it a reality show? And also, hey, I kind of need you to get pregnant in the next like 6 to 12 months for the show to work.
And they're going to film our child to see if we jacked up our child for the next 18 years as well.
Yeah. So Kat said yes. We have 2 kids. The camera crew is in the kitchen right now.
Yeah.
No.
Joke's on them, because no matter what you do, you're going to jack up your kids.
Hey, isn't that the truth?
Doesn't matter. We're all going to.
That's the one way. I love that. So that's my way of that. That's my almost Hollywood story. And she always makes fun of me because she's like, now that I know you, you're so not a reality TV contestant, in the sense of like, you're not the kind of person that comes across as like wanting to be on reality TV. She's like, but I judged you so hard on our first date because you mentioned that you were going through this process. And she was like, I like this guy, I'm interested, but it's a little red flaggy that he's talking about being on this reality show where he's supposed to have a kid with a stranger. And she was right. That is red flaggy. So thank God I like somehow just out charisma'd that detail that I thought was a really smart detail to mention on a first date.
God, Netflix is really grasping for straws on content, man, and just like television shows. Like, here, have a kid with your best friend and let us film it. This is weird, man.
Well, now I just keep waiting to see if it ever gets announced, if it ever actually ended up getting made or what happened,
It'll end up on Tubi or something.
Roku. Yeah, Roku Live.
Right.
Okay, Andrew, I want to keep asking questions, but I want to hear your voice, man. It's really weird for me behind the scenes, for people that are listening, when I go through, I've done like 9 episodes, and I'm going through and I'm editing, and then I don't see Andrew's airwaves, and I get super self-conscious because I just like started going into like full interview mode. But they've given us so much interesting stuff, and I'm just curious to learn more through your lens.
No, I mean, like, I think one of my favorite things about being in the world of Jared and Kylee, because when you're around them, you're truly in their world. Like, they're isolated, they're removed. Jared's the mayor of his tiny little town that he runs, like elected mayor of the town.
What?
And
it's one in a landslide too.
Yeah. 100% of the votes.
100% of the votes. It's the easiest when nobody else runs.
But when you're out there, like the crazy part about it is like everything that they do is sustained from their farm, right? Like the knife class, the knife shop, when Jared runs the newsletter, when Kylee makes everything from there, they used to run this like really cool, unique breed of sheep on their property. Like, just all kinds of fun, crazy shit. But now, like, I think my favorite part of what you guys do now is like how you've integrated everything into like this like very symbiotic thing that kind of all lives under the Three Daughters Farms umbrella. And then the dog content, I have no skin in the game at all when it comes to like training dogs for bird hunting. Like it's so far over my head. But getting in the comments with Jared and the shit that these people comment on that I get to like just laugh at and have fun with is my favorite thing that happens. And Jared and Kylee are just such good sports about it that they play back, and it's not just like we're going to block this guy. It's like they kind of feed into it, and it just creates, in my opinion, some of the most fun thing. Like I love it, and I would love for
what goes on in the comments.
It's its
Jared.
own reality show.
Yeah, we call it my Only Labs account because we have labs in there. But people get we train I train hunting dogs, and like you have to have control over your hunting dog. You know, you need him to sit when he's supposed to sit and stay, and pick up ducks or birds or just like picking up tennis balls with you out at the lake or something. Like there's a process to a retrieve for a dog. Well, people on Facebook just don't like it. And one person in particular said, I remember this one stands out pretty good because he said, they said, this dude really loves control. I bet he beats his wife.
Oh my God.
People just go unhinged, man. They get so upset. So usually what I do is I put the laugh emoji, or like, I laugh at their comment or put the laugh emoji. And that makes them even more mad. And then they start calling me a narcissist mostly. And then when they say like, you're such a narcissist, I can't believe you would laugh at that. When you laugh at that comment, then, oh boy, I mean, you start getting DMs. They just get into it, man. They get so
it's just crying, laughing emojis all the way down.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then on top of that, there's also like a bunch of women that are like, who is this smoking hot guy training dogs in this beautiful jacket? And it's so, because you would like, yeah, I guess for me, like in the world of like the insecurity side of it, like I would assume like maybe Kylee would get a little pissed off at it. And she doesn't. She just fucking laughs at it. And then it's perfection.
The normal comment that is just the best one for that is, well, he gets lots of DMs from ladies. Some of them are older, some are a little younger, whatever it may be. But the best one is, I came here for the dog training, but I'm now staying for the trainer.
Oh my God, it's amazing.
That's gone. We had a video. That doesn't happen as much anymore. That doesn't happen that much. We had one video do 27 million views on Facebook, and that was where I don't even know how many I don't know how many thousands of comments that video had, but that was the one that like blew up our dog business and sort of that was where those comments were coming from. Was that one video.
Wow. Okay, this might feel like a hard turn or a hard segue, but we've been talking for a while, and I really want to get your guys' opinion on this. But I want to qualify with like my question that I want to ask you guys, because I feel like sometimes when you're doing stuff on video or you're recording stuff versus just being at a dinner table, all of a sudden it can feel like you're putting people on a platform or idealizing them, and be like, would you please speak for all couples who work together? Would you be like a guru and tell us the 5 ways to make it work? So I want to like, less that energy and more like we were having a beer and being like, and I would like to hear from each of you, just some of the lessons that you feel like you've learned from, I mean, obviously you parent together, you've been married, but then now like there's actual professional responsibilities that have to be shared or discussed. And that is fascinating to me. And I just think it's really cool. I think probably a lot of people think it's really cool. So just to be able to actually have time to ask you some questions about some of the lessons you've kind of learned along the way, I think would be really interesting for me.
Let's preface it first with like how the business works, or how like what we have. So the umbrella that Andrew talked about earlier is Three Daughters Farm and Vineyard, of course, named after our girls. So like some stuff falls under there, but Boot Hill Blades, our main business, Boot Hill Blades LLC owns Three Daughters Farm and Vineyard. So everything flows up to Boot Hill Blades, right? So for tax purposes, whatever, it all flows up. Boot Hill Blades oversees it all, but the way we sort of break out, so we have Boot Hill Blades, Boot Hill Kitchen, Three Daughters Farm and Vineyard, and now we have TDF Kennels. And TDF Kennels stands for Three Daughters Farm, right? I didn't want to create something new. We're just going to put it under the Three Daughters Farm umbrella. And so, like, when it comes to that, like, I run Boot Hill Blades and and TDF Kennels. She pretty much runs, and these are separate Instagram accounts, separate Facebooks, whatever. She runs Boot Hill Kitchen and Three Daughters Farm and Vineyard. And she not only runs those two, she also kind of behind the scenes runs my others too, because Kylee does all of our billing, all of our admin, all of our tax stuff, most of our customer facing like interactions through email or whatever. She does a lot of that. I pretty much run TDF Kennels, and so I do all of the responses to that and talking to people through there, and that's a lot right now because we have a bigger following over there. So I do a bunch of that, and she has taken over like basically Boot Hill Blades, Boot Hill Kitchen, and Three Daughters Farm and Vineyard. So she has a lot of responsibility. And the way that this really works, I don't know if it would work for every couple, but in reality, this is the way it works. I'm the idea guy. I'm the one who I'll create the idea, create the business, create the demand, create that, package it all up the best I can, and then hand it off to Kylee. And I say, okay, now you run it. Like I build it, generate it, get it moving in the right direction, and then package it up and hand it over and say, okay, now you run it. And then she runs it. And that is how Boot Hill Blades has been successful for 11 years. When I go to Nashville, people don't give a crap about Jared from Boot Hill Blades. They want to see Kylee from Boot Hill Blades. She's going to take them lasagna. She's going to take them oatmeal cream pies. She's going to take them.
The best.
Yeah, the best.
Holy shit.
They want to see
the
her.
Best.
I could walk down the street geared out. I was at a new bar opening, and the guy next to me was like, "Do you know the guy from Boot Hill Blades?" I was wearing a hat, and I was like, "No, I don't. I just got the hat." I was like, if they don't recognize me, they recognize her. People know her, and she knows all the chefs. She talks to them all. She tells me all the time. She's like, that chef at this place? I'm like, no, I've never seen him before. I don't know who she is. She was like, I talk to him all the time. So
dinner with him the other night.
So that's how like the business side of things work. But actual working at the house and working together, you tell them about that.
Not everyone's probably cut out for that either. And we've had our moments for sure, but saying that we've been doing it, we've only been at this farm for 6.5 years. So before we had the farm, we had way less responsibilities. We didn't have dogs. We didn't have the vineyard. We didn't have near the stuff. We didn't have mowing every day of my life. Like there was a lot of different things. So when we moved here 6.5 years ago, I'm going to kind of go from there because that's when it got a little bit harder to do, but we are very opposite. I am a doer and a worker as much as like, I would never stop working. Like if I was like, oh, I'm young right now and we have all these bills, I'm going to work until my hands fall off, literally. Jared is like, no, we're going to have this business and do this so I can stop whenever I want, hang out with the kids, and we can, go to dinner or we can just sit here on the porch and do nothing. And in my mind, I don't have that same quality. So that is a huge win for me because I need Jared to slow me down and then he needs me to pick him up. So I think our biggest thing is that
Shut up, Andrew. Shut it.
So her number one job by far is wrangling Jared. That's Kylie's number one job. It's Jared. Stop talking fantasy baseball. Get to work. We got to get shit done. Let's go.
That's right.
Yeah, we are very opposite, but it's literally like the most perfect match possible for this particular lifestyle. We are super passionate about everything we do, and there's not a lot of things that he doesn't end up deciding to get passionate about that I don't jump in, and vice versa. There's not a lot of things that we don't end up doing together. And we are also super comfortable doing our own thing. So we don't get to leave here together very often because we have the farm and we have too many responsibilities. So like when our daughter was in college, we went separately. I went for a weekend. He went for a different weekend. One holds it down at the house. One goes and visits. We are just comfortable with that life. Like I go to Nashville and I make deliveries and end up hanging out with chefs and having dinner or whatever. And he's holding it down here or vice versa. it just works for us. And that probably isn't everyone's thing. But we do a lot of things together too. We both like riding bikes. We like hunting. We like, we like going out and working outside together, even though it might not be everyone's, favorite thing. We enjoy doing things together. So I don't know. For us, I think it just works, but I'm not going to say it's easy all the time. Like, it's not. It's not easy all the time. We do get in arguments about working together also.
But on that point about it not being easy, can you just quickly go over the scope of what all is happening on the farm, from the varieties of animals to maintaining the vineyard, what you're growing, what just upkeep on the amount of land that you guys have is with the dogs, with everything going on, including the businesses?
Right now, we do have 2 full kennels plus inside dogs. So what are we at right now? We've
12?
got 12 dogs.
12 or 13.
Including a newer puppy that's only a few months old. I cut out some of the vineyard this year to make more room in the pasture for running dogs. So we have probably about 400 grapevines. And then we've cut some trees out too. We've got about 20 peach trees, 5 apple trees, 3 pawpaw trees, 3 pear trees, and a bunch of pecan trees. I don't even know how many, like 60, something stupid. And then the actual acreage here is 12 acres, but now that I don't have the sheep, I have to mow all 12 acres, including the pastures. We have 2 cows right now, and they can't even keep up with the grass at all. And then we have an undetermined amount of chickens and geese and ducks because they procreate all the time. So there's always new ones. And then we have the little guest house. So people stay there all the time. So we turn that house, as in like laundry, cleaning the house every time somebody stays, which can get to be a lot. And then our main house, which is 185 years old and barely runs.
What?
Yeah. Built in
It's
1840.
awesome.
185 years?
It'll be 185 years next year. I guess it's 184 years old.
Oh my God.
So, and pretty original. So
A good day.
we don't have any employees. It's just the 2 of us.
A good working day looks like this. A good working day, we're up 6. She's up at 6:30. I'm up usually at like 7:30. She has gone outside, taken care of the puppy, washed kennels, like sprayed out kennels,
Let the chickens out.
fed the cow. Then I'm up. We have coffee together on the porch for maybe half an hour. And then I usually go start training dogs. So I'll train dogs for 2 to 3 hours outside. In the meantime, she's going to clean up, make breakfast, clean up a little bit around. We reconvene for breakfast usually. And then when breakfast is over, I go in the shop. I start making knives, working in the shop. She usually goes and mows something. So she mows almost every day for 3 to 4 hours a day mowing something. So she's mowing. And then she'll get done with mowing. We've been trying to reconvene once again, like around 5 o'clock, just in the pool with a beverage to like cool down when it's hot but then we get out of the pool and we go and feed dogs, do things with dogs again, feed animals again. In between there, she has to clean the guest house. I will cut trees or refence something, like that's a stacked day. So a lot of times when it's cold and it gets dark earlier, we do less. But these kind of days where it's getting dark at 8 o'clock, we're not sitting down to dinner sometimes till 7:30, 8 o'clock. Like we just come in.
And we do make dinner almost every night. We don't leave and do much else.
Well, there's nothing around you. You got to drive 30
minutes away.
Bro, we hit the China buffet yesterday. It was money.
I imagine you sleep pretty well after a long day like that.
We like to stay up. He can stay up better than me. I'm usually way more exhausted, but I usually get up a little earlier than him too. But I have carpal tunnel and issues because of all the things I do, so I don't sleep as well as him. He can sleep until 11, but he's not allowed. So
true, that's true.
I was gonna say earlier, it just sounded like you were describing like a really healthy. I don't know if this is the right term or not, but I don't really care. Interdependent relationship. Right? Like people are always warning you against codependency and watch out for codependent relationships. But the idea that you guys have so much shared responsibility, even though it's obviously explained, it's really smartly balanced between who's responsible for what. But you have a lot of time together, so then it also makes sense that there's a balance that can be, this person can go handle this, I can go handle that, and we have our time away from each other. And to me, that just sounds like a really healthy balance. Like, I love that. I
never find her. I never know where she is. I have to literally, there's only 12 acres, but I have to pull her up on where's my phone or find my phone just so I can be like, where the hell is she? And then I'll find her somewhere on the farm, somewhere or whatever. But when I'm in the shop working, like when I am focused and in the shop working, we both put in earbuds and like, don't talk to me. You know what I mean? It's like I'm going, my train of thought. So I'm streaming some sort of podcast.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, I'm streaming. I'm to the point now when making knives. It's like when you drive somewhere and you don't remember how you got there. That's how I am making knives. It's a process. I've got it down and what needs to be done. So I'm actually focusing on whatever I'm listening to. So when she interrupts me for something, it throws me all out of whack. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'll forget something. I'll mess something up. So there's probably 3 to 4 hours a day where it's just like we don't talk. She's got her ear pods in, I've got mine in, and we just do our thing, in the shop or wherever we are.
So this is the most, Andrew, this is my last thing, by the way. We've talked for over an hour. This is my last thing. So I'm just happy to go wherever you want the conversation to go or any curiosities you have. And same thing, Jared, Kylee, if you guys have any questions about myself or anything going on. But this is most I'll sound like a journalist is like following up on a question I asked before. To your own comfort, though, because this is a casual podcast. 6.5 years of working together, and you're thinking about how there have been arguments or there have been fights. I assume that 6.5 years, like there's just certain things you picked up about the other person or certain skills of just like finely tuned or whatever. And that's a little bit of like what I was hoping to maybe even just get a taste of, if you're comfortable, just for other people that might be 6.5 years behind you guys, maybe just starting out trying to work with their partner, and anything, even like a small thing that you feel like you've learned about each other or about yourself, even when it comes to the times when there's gonna be contention every once in a while,
The thing that we argue about the most, the thing that we run into and have an argument about the most is doing something, doing a project, doing a process, doing something on the farm. And Kylee likes to do something the hard way. And I like to do something. I like to step back, think about it, and do something the easy way. Like figure out a roundabout way or figure out how to do this the most simple way possible. It may take me half an hour to think of what that is, but like I want to, think smarter and not work harder. She'll just go and do it. She'll just work harder. And then she's wasted all this time and then comes and gets me. And then I'm like, you just wasted all this time. You should have why didn't you just do this? Here's the simple way around that or to do it. You know what I mean? So that is the thing that we fight about the most. Like, because then she's mad that she's mad that she has to come get me, number one, because a lot of times she can just do stuff by herself. But then I make her feel stupid by telling her, this is the easy way around, or this is what I would have done. Why didn't you just do this? So we still struggle with that probably twice a year.
It's getting less for sure, but I'm a glutton for punishment and I'm fully aware that I have a problem, but I just keep doing it.
But probably twice a year we like have this out where it's just like we both kind of, or I'd be mean to her or like I'd be a jerk because she spent a lot of time on something and
then I tell him he's a jerk.
Yeah, and I'm trying to get better and I've been getting better at it.
Andrew's laughing.
I'm trying to get better and I've been getting better at it, I hope. But the thing at the very, very beginning when we didn't have like set roles where we were really working like who needs to do what, how this needs to happen. Kylee was really taking on a ton of which she still does, but she was taking on a ton of responsibility. And like, I felt like we still have a family and like dropping some of the inside things where I'm outside in the shop all day. So I don't know, I'm going to sound like an asshole when I say this, but whatever. Like when I'm done working in the shop and I come inside, it's nice to have, the clean table or dinner's almost ready or whatever. I'm not saying, I sound like a, I don't know, misogynistic.
But that's
sound like a misogynistic jerk.
Yeah, but that's also how we live. Like
that's how we always had lived. That's how we always had lived. So when we moved out here and she started taking on responsibilities and I come in at 5 or 6 o'clock in the afternoon and I'm thinking, okay, dinner's probably almost ready. And not only has dinner not been made, nothing's even out thawing, nothing's happened, and she's still mowing somewhere out in the thing. We had to like have a sit down talk and really delineate responsibilities to where it's like, okay, all right, if you are going to be taking that much time during grape season picking and you're really going to have all of this, you're going to be working till late at night. I just need to know, because I don't mind making dinner. I'll make dinner. I'll take care of the kids. I'll take them wherever they need to go. All I need to know, you just need to communicate with me that it's that time of year. And she gets really stressed, and then it'll just like build up and it would just kind of blow up. So now
It's a lot better.
probably it took us probably 2 years to figure that out. And when we finally sat down and had a good conversation about it, now I know, like I can see it coming. I know we know when that season's coming. No problem. I'm going to quit working in the shop a little early. I'll start dinner. I'll get something out. We'll just kind of shift roles a little bit, you know, but it took a while to figure that out.
And this is my last thing on it, but my favorite part of any of that kind of story is what you just mentioned at the end, as far as like when we had that good conversation. And I think that's what a lot of couples lack or don't know how. It doesn't mean it's out of some TV show or some perfect sounding beautiful thing. It can actually be really flawed and really imperfect. But did you ended up solving something or finding resolution or feeling heard, you know, or feeling like, oh, this person isn't just expecting me now to do all these things faster so I can still meet the role or expectation of having dinner ready. They're actually saying, okay, if we're a team and we're all wanting the same thing, then I could even step in during this time of the year and do this or do that. And so I guess that's my last kind of question is what are the things that you felt coming out of the good conversation? Because I'm like the feelings guy. That's where I like to live. And I think it's always good for other people to hear, like, things don't have to be perfect, but a good conversation, what's that actually feel like when you're like, oh, we just had one of those good, hard conversations and good things are going to come out of it, you know, for both of you?
I mean, we've done that. That's probably a bonus to us, is that it's not really a pretty conversation. There's tears, and I'm not a hugely emotional person, to be quite honest. So tears are a real thing. When they're tears, Jared knows it's serious. So, but we always do come to, I think we're both pretty aware of our downfalls. And I think that's a huge, like, reason it works, is because I don't think he's necessarily being mean about my downfall. It is my downfall, and I'm aware of it. So him just trying to figure out how we can do it easier, it works for us. But like without the conversation, it would just be an absolute disaster.
Yeah.
Here's the selfish motivation, Jared. I want to hear your answer. I just thought I'd share this. I realized I hadn't shared it. So part of the selfish motivation here isn't I'm not interested in like couples therapy content for Andrew and I, but I'm like, Kat and I work so well together and we have all these like shared goals and shared passions, but I've had like co-founder relationships that have gone sour, and I can see them like protecting myself towards like, I just don't want to work with friends, or I don't want to like do any type of project with people I know. I just want it to be like done in the safe business way. But I can feel in this way, I'm like, I could see a world where the two of us could work really well together. So we happen to talk to you, and all of a sudden you can see that that's where this interest is coming from. It's like, oh, you know, it's always nice to hear some lessons or hear a little bit of what it's felt like. So just I wanted to share that just so you could be curious, you know what the motivation is a little bit. And then like what has these good conversations ended up feeling like for you?
I compartmentalize. Like, I'm probably your just average Joe, your average, American male. I compartmentalize things. So from 9 to 5, like, Kylie's an employee of Boot Hill Blades. So that's how I treat her sometimes. And I have to remember that she also happens to be my wife, because I can turn it off at 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock, I'm like, hey, honey, you know what I mean? Like, but she doesn't compartmentalize like that, of course. So I have to, I have to not do that. But the best thing about it is she can get a lot of stuff done. She was independent when I met her, single mom, working 2 jobs, maybe 3. Like, she is an independent person, and like she said, does not get emotional very often. So when she gets emotional, it's actually like, it's not, for me, it's nice to see. It's like, oh, she still does need me for some stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I still am an integral part of what she has going on. She still needs me. She still wants me to do things and wants me there. And she cares about how I talk to her. She cares about how, what I say to her. And So that's kind of just, breaks down that wall again. And it's nice. I mean, as a man, I don't want a woman that's just like no emotion at all, that has not, like, that's why we like women. That's why they are different than us. So it's nice to see that sometimes, because instead of just an employee, it's like, oh, my wife, she does cry, she does show emotion, and she does need me for something. So I don't know. That's kind of how I feel about it.
I really appreciate you guys both like being vulnerable and like sharing what I think is like really freaking honest, beautiful, helpful stuff for people like myself, especially, to hear. So I'm just like, I got a lot of gratitude, I guess. But that was my big thing I wanted to ask, Andrew. I don't know what else you have left that you're curious about, but thank you guys.
Well, I just gotta feel like an asshole now because I've never had to talk to them about any of that shit.
I mean,
I just show up and fuck around. That's all we do.
Are you looking to start a business with Deandra though? Because sometimes it's our own whatever we got going on, our own mind, our own motivations, where it just crisscrosses and hits certain points, and that's how a conversation goes.
No, we're not. Deandra, we're not going into business together. We're good.
I think we should have this conversation with Andrew and Deandra. I think this would be really fun.
Yeah, you want to bring her in? Is she there? And get us some headphones for her?
Yeah, she's downstairs. But no, we're good.
She'll shut that down faster than all of us combined.
100%. She is the boss, and I know that. She knows that. And there is, it's funny because just to tie in back to what we talked about this, I think, in another podcast about like all of like the Enneagram stuff and like what type of personality traits you have and like taking those tests. And when I was the culinary director at M Street, I took it, and it was like super assertive. You're like the person who's going to lead, almost type A to a degree, but I'm not that at all. And then I took it again while I was at home, and it was like super submissive, like needs somebody to like give them direction. So then I took my results into work, and I was like, I need to show you this because this doesn't make any sense to me. And then as I'm doing that, they're like, the people there who knew Deandra were like, what? How does this not make sense to you? Like they looked at me like I'm the idiot. And I was like, well, yeah, it's very
That's
true.
amazing.
I mean, she's very, sure of the things that she is sure of. And I think I align more with Kylee in the sense, like, I'm just going to do something and not think about it and just fucking go to get it done. And Deandra's always the person that's like, why did you do that? Are you an idiot? Like, what are you doing? So I think she takes it to a level that's maybe beyond what Jared may take it to, because there's a little bit of pressure in there. But no, man, it's all good fun. We have a lot of fun, and I think there's been I think the dynamic has shifted a lot over the last few years in that way. But I think the one thing that I did want to get at with this is that going up to their farm and like being a part of what they've created and what they've offered to the community around culinary arts, specifically in Nashville. Like, I think it's something that not a lot of people, I don't hear a lot of people talking about it, but like the space that they create to have these knife classes, to have chefs come up, to cook these dinners, to do these events, to do all of this stuff in that world, just creates such a really cool, really free environment to be creative in a space that doesn't have that opportunity very much. So more of me trying to like bridge the gap of a conversation. It's more of like saying thank you to you guys, because I don't know that I've ever truly thanked you guys in that way. But it's meant a lot to me. Like I think our friendship is something that I cherish, and I look at it every time I go there. It's like a little mini vacation of like it's really hard to just to stay in your bubble when you walk onto their farm. And it's one of my favorite things about going up there, like aside from the people and how beautiful it is out there, but just it's a lot of fun.
So
And
I have to ask this then, and I apologize if I'm getting all sentimental again, but what does it feel like for you guys to know, like, obviously you have to put so much work, there's so much maintenance, there's 3 hours of mowing every day. Like, we just went through your schedule. I have a sense of like how much work it is. So there's clearly stuff to always be done, right? But for other people, they come in and they have potentially like the opposite. Like they have this like transformative escape or getting back in touch with some part of themselves or whatever. And I would love to just hear a little bit about what that feels like to know that that's something that you're able to offer people that step onto the farm.
I mean, I'm pretty sure that's the reason we do what we do, if we're being quite honest. Like all of the businesses that we have and all of the things we've talked about, we talk about it all the time. We don't really care. I mean, we don't really care about the money.
We're not living some lavish lifestyle. We don't really care about the actual business. And I say that in like the nicest way possible. We care about the relationships. And we've sat on the porch recently, multiple times recently, and said, let's not forget this life. Like, let's not forget the people that are coming here, and, you know, the people that get to come here and hang out with us, and all these people we've met. And if we could leave right now and go on a road trip and not have to worry about anything, we could stop all over the place and have somewhere to stay with all of these people that we have created relationships with. And man, how cool is that? Like,
even people we don't really like Andrew, who come up, and he feels like part of the family. I don't know why, but you know, he apparently we give that off. I tell people this all the time. Like, the whole point of what we're doing, like the whole point of being mayor, the whole point of the relationships we create and what we do, I want it to reflect well, like to my kids, because you know, like everybody says, money, you can't take it with you. You can't, if I'm gone, the relationships, you can't take them with you either. But at my funeral, I want these people that my kids have never seen before coming up and being like, you're not like your dad, your mom. I can't believe you know, I haven't seen you since you were a little kid, but we did this, and they left a lasting impression on us. And the time we had there, or what happened, I never forgot it. You know, it was something that, a relationship or just an experience that I never ever forgot. And that's what we're in the business of now, basically, is creating experiences. And it's a little bit selfish because we create the experience for ourselves. The people who get to come and have fun, I appreciate that they've had an experience too, but it really is good for us. Like the people we hang out with and meet, and the relationships, and just the doors that open. And I always want to be open to something else. My dad, when I was first afraid to leave the bank, my dad said, Jared, I'm not afraid for you to leave the bank. Like, you'll always just be able to reinvent yourself. Never be afraid to reinvent yourself and do something else. And it took me a few years to like become unafraid. But at this point, maybe I have too much confidence, but I'm thinking like I could make a business out of frickin' selling dirt. Like I can make this work, you know, with help from Kylee and the way that we do things and like work together, we can make it work. So I kind of don't worry about how that's going to end up. What I worry about and what we plan for, and the guest house is nicer than our house. Like, that's how we want it to be. You know, we want these people to come here, and even if it's just for a weekend or a day to pick up their puppies. Everybody who came and picked up their recent puppies that we had a litter from, they all stayed. So they all stayed a night, and we scheduled them back to back to back nights, and they all stayed and picked up their puppy. And it's not just,
they had breakfast with us in the morning, and they were like, you guys are having, like, we can have breakfast? And we're like, yeah, what else are you going to do? You got to come in the house and have breakfast. Like, of course you do.
Jared and Kylee, like, I freaking love those answers so much. Andrew is spot on, man. This is like the dream idea of he and I jump on our computer to do this thing, right? You talk about like you wanted an experience selfishly for yourself, but then it could turn into this thing for other people. And that was the way that Andrew and I kind of got to this too, was like, man, I just, the idea of like trying to build a podcast and think about how many people are listening and advertisers, I'm not interested in any of that. So let's care less about that and think, did my Friday get better? Because I'm going to turn this screen off in the next 10 minutes and I'm going to feel better throughout the rest of the day because of the answers you guys just gave. As if, you know, the internet's amazing in some ways. It's horrible in others, but the amazing part is that I'm in LA and you guys are in Tennessee and I'm fucking inspired right now. I'm like, I'm being reminded that what I know about art is true for business, and that a lot of the best art is I'm writing for things I wish I could see in the world, or the younger me wish existed. I'm not trying to write for what I think other people want or how I'm worried about other people see me. I'm doing art for myself, and that's what can make it really interesting, and other people will fall in love with that. And then you're inspiring me on this whole other level to remind myself, in my community, there are probably some really great ways to build something I want that then, of course, will be something that other people will cherish. And I mean, I haven't even been to the farm, and I just was picturing these people coming to pick up their puppies and staying on this beautiful place and waking up in the morning and having breakfast with a real family that cares about what they do. And it's what you said earlier. how in the world are some of those kids not thinking about that for the rest of their lives? How is that not a memory that they potentially carry forever? I'm kind of gushing now, but I'm not insecure about it. I think it's earned. But what a great conversation.
You're 100% right, though. I mean, but like going to their farm specifically for the knife classes, that weekend that me and Zane and Joe and James spent up there is to this day one of the best 3 days I've ever spent in my life. And I've had the privilege to do some pretty cool shit in my life. And that is like a core memory. Our group message from that knife class, this knife class was 2 years ago. And that group message, it doesn't fire 24/7, but when it picks up, it's like 5, 6, 7 days of just berating each other and beating each other up. And it's so much fun. And the last thing that I definitely want to touch on, and not to get into two different, is that Jared and Kylee, it's funny because the vacation thing, right? Like we've bumped into each other going out of town
2 or 3
twice.
times.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Twice. He's been on my vacation twice.
And we've only been on like 3.
Yeah, we've only been on 3 vacations in like 10 years. He's been on 2 of them.
But even in those moments, right? Like going, like being removed from their farm, from their environment that they've curated and built to be this thing, you still have that same feeling somewhere completely removed. And my favorite story of all that we have together is definitely the Aspen
I knew you were going to say it.
food and wine event that we went to, because two things came from that I'll never forget. One is that I do not like gondolas at all, period. Hated it. Worst experience by far. And they were on the gondola with me, and I'm like full white face, sweating, gripping onto the seat, not even looking around, and they're just completely making fun of me the whole ride up in Aspen. And Vail. But, and I'll let Jared tell the story because he remembers it better than I do. But we go to this food and wine event at the top of Vail Mountain or the top of Vail Pass, and we're up there. And I mean, we're 30,000, 40,000. It's some stupid number of feet up. And the people there are like, when I say bougie, I mean like
Pretentious.
bougie, like big mountain bougie. And it's a food and wine event at the top of the mountain. And there's like booze as far as the eye can see. And I don't drink, right? So like I'm there and I'm like, okay, cool. The food's going to be good because there's all this money up here. There was like 8 food stalls. All of them had lines that were crazy. And we get up to the top and have this just insane experience that I don't even know how to talk about. It was beautiful. It was fun, but the food side of it was so wild. And
you mean horrible?
He means bad.
You were already in a bad mood because of the gondola ride. So he gets finally up to the top of the mountain, and we're slipping all over the place because it was ice at the top. And Kylie goes to get something, and me and Andrew are walking around like, look at these bougie pieces. Like, what? Where are we? We slide down to this, the very first thing we walk up to, the very first booth, and we're like, finally, we can get some food. And the guy serves a chicken slider of some sort. Andrew takes the chicken slider off the plate, takes one bite, goes, this is trash, spits it out, and throws it in the trash can right in front of the chef, right in front of him. And I am sitting there looking at him like, oh my God. And he goes, what? It is trash. At this point, he's turned around, so his back is to the chef, and the chef's just looking at him, but I'm facing the chef. And I see the chef just looking at him, and he's like, what? It is trash. And I'm like, so then I seize the opportunity because I see it right in front of me. I'm like, I think it looks kind of good. You don't like this? And he's like, don't eat that. And I was like, I might take a bite. And he was like, don't put that in your mouth. So I take a bite, and I'm like, dude, this is a pretty good slider. And he was like, throw it away right now. Do not eat this.
I was first of all, I did not know the chef was watching directly me take a bite.
It does feel like you broke some type of chef code there. I'm just going to say,
100%. Because I've seen him lie to a lot of other chefs about their food being good. So he did not realize the chef was looking at him. 100%.
It was gross, by the way, Andrew. I'm with you. It was nasty.
Yeah, it was not good.
No.
But anyway, that experience was just so fun to share with you guys because there's no hiding there. Like, you guys are going to call me on anything and everything that I do or say. And the fact that I'm in this gondola stressing out and you guys are still giving me shit going up the side of a mountain while this thing's swinging, it just made it.
that day. We were your Uber driver too, and it was so.
God, I wish there was video. I just want video of him on the gondola so bad.
I think I had video at some
I yelled at him when he had his little briefcase and he got out of the car to go to an interview. Yeah, I was like, "Have a good day at school," or whatever. I yelled at you.
All right, best trick I can think of, Kylie, just to find out if it still exists, and if it doesn't, it's okay. I'll accept it. And you might already do this too now. I just go to the actual months now when I go to search because there's so many photos on our phones because there's just like so much. You can have so many photos now. So I would just always be like, wait, when was that trip? I'm gonna go to that month, and then boom, there it is.
To Shutterfly just to get them off the phone. So most of them are pretty organized in there. I will definitely see what I can pull up of that. But wait, I do have to add one thing in though. We talked about all of these things here on the farm, but we did not talk about the 2 children of ours. One is grown up and lives in Nashville, and the other ones are running around here during all of these things, just so you know.
It's amazing.
See,
this is what happens. This is what happens when you get interviewed by 2 people that don't have kids yet. We don't even think to ask about any of the parenting side of it.
Andrew definitely knows our children very well. The oldest one lived with him over the summer. We call him the summer parent. Yep. But the little ones love Andrew, and they definitely know him, and they also give him crap. So.
100. Dude, they'll rate our food. Like when I cook for the knife dinners, the girls are like, Andrew, that was like a 5 out of 10. Like we didn't like it. And I'm like, oh shit.
They gave you or Adam a 10 out of 10 on salt. One time. And they gave Adam a 0 out of 10 on beans.
They didn't eat
like a green bean. They never even tried it. They just gave him a 0 out of 10. They're like, nah,
oh my God.
green beans. We're not eating those.
That's
but
so
Charlie,
funny.
you've got to, when you come out here, it's only an hour away to get to their farm. We'll come up and
hey, don't think that I haven't been waiting for like the entire hour and 20 minutes to see if they just even subtly say, hey, you should come sometime, just to be like, all right, yeah, great. I'm on my Google Calendar.
Andrew knows everyone's always invited to come. There is an open invite for everyone to be here. We always have people here. We enjoy it. You are welcome anytime.
All right, but we have to do a little bit of damage control because I don't think Deandra's going to listen to these, or if she does, there's no way I don't think Deandra's making it to the very end of these podcasts. This is all going to come back to bite me in the ass if Deandra actually does. But when I come to Nashville, it's because I've never visited Deandra in Nashville, and that's the reason, okay? Not because I'm extra motivated to go to. That's the bonus.
Yeah.
So yes, okay, good. We have an understanding then.
Definitely, you need to book a knife class, Charlie. It will. It's one of the best experiences you can possibly.
I'm actually like I'm used as like a sous chef like 2 to 3 times a week. Here in my personal family kitchen, and I want to be more. I want to be less and less incompetent as a assistant to my girlfriend.
No, you're gonna make a knife. You're not gonna learn how to use it. You're gonna make the knife.
That's wild. That's so wild. That's so wild to me. Wow. Okay. This was awesome. Does anybody have any last things before we go? We've talked about so much, but I'm just so grateful for the time.
No, sir. Thank you, Charlie. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, that was fun. Thanks, guys.
Andrew, thank you for booking both of them, and I know absolutely I'm going to see you again. I'm going to see you in Nashville, and I'm so excited. It sounds freaking awesome to come see what you guys are doing out there.
You better train your stomach to go eat with Andrew.
Oh boy.
Oh, I know that.
He knows. We've had dinners.
I know that.
Oh my.
All right. Thank you all so much.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much.
Bye, guys.
See ya.
Yep. Have a good one.
You too.